Hi there guys, TheBarracuda57 here, and with my third video, this one on INFJ stereotypes. I've just come back from a trip down in the south of England. As you can see, my skin might be slightly more tanned. I don't know if you can see in this light, but it is. And yeah, we had a talk, me and my two friends, one day, about how each of our characteristics are, how we come across as individuals, and just general, first observations really, if we didn't know who each other were really. And yeah, there was a lot of positive feedback, a few negative feedbacks, but in general positive, which was good. And seeing as in general as an INFJ I have no idea how I come across to the external world, it helped just to verify and, certify who I was as a person, which made me feel much better and less detached. So I felt, when I came back, it'd be nice to make a video showing common stereotypes, both true and false, towards the INFJ. As recently, I saw on the forums a string of threads talking about how other people perceive the INFJ. A lot of good stuff, a few bad things, but we're not perfect. And, the stereotypes just help to verify who we are as individuals, as people. So overall, I hope this video helps INFJs further understand who we are as a type. And yeah, just to help you guys out. Anyway, here it is. Well, generally, before I go into true stereotypes and false stereotypes, I'm just going to go through a list of things which in general we're summed up as by first impressions. A lot of this I agree with, but I didn't see it came across so strongly and so commonly in my everyday life. But my friends say I'm like this all the time, yet I'm not aware of it. So, if any of this also relates to you INFJs as well, then that's a plus. We've got a common link there. But this is what my friends said about me as an INFJ. We can be bad conversationalists sometimes. I guess that depends on how much energy we have, if we feel the need to participate, if we think the topic is suitable or something that we can relate to. Otherwise, in general, I won't talk a lot because I just don't feel the need to kind of waste any needed energy if it's been a long day, for example. So, bad conversationalists? I'd say half and half. We're fearless? Yeah, I'd say so. In the sense that we protect ourselves and try and be authentic, and if anyone tries to kind of attack our character and who we are, we'll defend us. We'll defend our personalities, our inner dreams to the end, as well as just, protect my friends if I needed to. We have a different energy. I'd say we do. I'd say we don't have a kind of spark, but we have kind of like a glow warmth which kind of goes quite slower than the others, which kind of makes sense because we're supposed to be old souls. And I just don't have the energy in comparison to people of my generation. I just don't know where they get the energy from. Even drinking a Red Bull or an energy drink, for example, I just never seem to have as much energy as they do. Obviously I'm processing more things in my subconscious as they are, so that's probably where all the energy is going. But I'm engaging as a person. I'm also quite blunt. Yeah, I can agree with that. Very philosophical. Yeah. Plato was supposed to be an INFJ, so as a philosopher I'd agree with that. I'm not saying that lots of the philosophers back in Greek mythology or ancient times were INFJs, I'm just saying, as dreamers, as idealists, we tend to think a lot and just kind of stare into space, so they see me commonly just kind of zoned out, which I agree with. We're very comfortable to be around. We're very abstract in thought, so our thoughts are quite dreamy, quite unrealistic, because one of my friends is an ESTJ, very logical, so a lot of my thoughts kind of blow his mind because they just make no mathematical or logical sense to them. But it's nice that he's willing to put up with that. We're no trouble at all, which is true because we're, as a type, we just strive for harmony and balance, so I agree with that. We're good with money. I think that's because we're future thinkers. We think about the future a lot, so we always think actually it's good to have some money in reserve rather than spend all the money. As my ESTJ friend just spends all the money because he thinks in the present and he doesn't save, and I always have to end up giving him my saved money because I know that he'll always overspend, which is fair enough. He pays me back, so it's alright. We're sensitive. Yes, I have an ESFP friend who, well, the title for them is The Artist. I don't know if I got the 4 letters right, but yeah. They're more sensitive than us, as he's an SP. But I'm sensitive in a way where it's not like touchy-feely, but more kind of like empathetic, and kind of, I don't kind of make people feel bad, and I make people feel comfortable, because the general energy around me I can sense. So if the energy is bad or someone's feeling bad, I can sense it, and I'm sensitive towards their feelings rather than kind of being openly sensitive kind of thing. Apparently we're a catch. I'm talking about this kind of relationship wise and romantically. I don't actually know yet. I'm still young, so who knows. But apparently INFJs are a real catch. Quote. So if any of you agree with that, please leave a comment, because I can't really relate to that. We can be very individual, to the sense that we can isolate ourselves a lot, because obviously we need to do what we need to do, carry out what we feel is necessary for us to complete within our lives. But we're strangers, but at the same time we always come back to our friends because we're loyal, because that's another thing that we follow strongly, loyalty. So we're kind of like mixed with our friends. We have a lot of close friends, and we'll go away for a very long time, but we'll always come back. Whereas my friends just always stay in their groups and never kind of expand or explore the world, kind of thing. But they feel comfortable, and they're glad that I'm one of those people who they know that I'll come back to, kind of thing. We half listen to instructions. That's something my dad said to me, and I agree with that, because we're very detached. We dream a lot, not as much as the INFP, but you know, we zone out quite a lot in order to access information for our intuition and our thinking. So yeah, when we're given instructions we half hear words and then we miss out on key details, which is something I've had my entire life. That's the problem with having an abstract and lateral mind. But yeah, not being able to listen to instructions is, I'm doing architecture, landscaping, so that's something I really need to develop, because if I miss a key point, something could go wrong in construction. So again, writing lists is a way that I can combat that. We're very clumsy. Yes, I agree. I did biology, animal species, and when it came to chemistry, I'd be the one that drops test tubes, mixes the wrong concoctions, and burns things, all because, you know, my mentality is so detached. I don't feel I'm in the present so often. My motor skills aren't the best. Tennis, not so good at either. But, you know, clumsy, so if you guys relate to that, that's another thing. We're a very rare and unique individual. Yeah. I'm not going to go any further into that because that'd be gloating. But, you know, that's for you guys to decide. We think way too much. I do. I sometimes feel that my thinking is much stronger than my feeling. But even if that's the case, I'm still an INFJ at the end of it. It's just I tend to think a lot. Just can't switch off, really. I don't know if that's the same with you guys. That's just with me. That's what my friend said. We're martyrs and anarchists. I hate following society. I mean, I'll stick to society's rules, but I'm not going to be a sheep. I'd rather be a wolf by himself than a sheep, following what everyone else does, wearing the same clothes, listening to the same things. I'd rather have a brain than just mindlessly follow what the media tells me to do. We're very complicated. Yes, that's true. Because even we complicate ourselves. Because our mind is so complex and so analytic, deep. We both think with our right brains and our left brains, our logical and our abstract minds. So we use 50-50 of our brain sides, and they overlap, and because of that there's so much confusion in thought and speech that sometimes when we're trying to explain things, it doesn't make logical sense, especially to a type that is logical, concrete orientated, really, which is fair enough. And we're perfectionists, which I completely agree on. Like, for example, I did art before I went to university, and I had a huge, strong, bold picture in my head, but when it came to actually producing the picture, it wasn't the same. And I spent hours and hours and so much extra time trying to perfect the picture in order to get it right. In the end, I still didn't feel it was fully right, but as perfectionists, we'll work on something until we feel it's perfect. So we may go over time and we may overwork ourselves. So that's something you guys have to watch as well as myself. So yeah, that's just generally what my friends said and summed me up when we were sat around a campfire. And it was just nice, really. Anyway, enough of that. Now I'm going to talk about false stereotypes towards the INFJ. Just a list of things which people have said about the INFJ which I don't feel is true. I don't know what you guys will think, but here's the list anyway. A few false stereotypes which I don't agree on. This also applies to introverts from an extroverted perspective, is that because we're quiet, we're very shy, and also because we're quiet, we're not clever, because we don't participate in class or in discussion groups. That's not true. It's just like, intuitives see the bigger picture, whereas sensors can only see the here and now. So for example, an extroverted sensor will see an introverted intuitive quiet. That's usually because we're thinking, or because we feel that we don't need to participate, and they just look at us as a type, or any NF or any introvert, and just say, you know, you're not clever because you're not participating and you're not talking it out. Not really, because we can process information in our brains. So please be a bit more open-minded, I should say. We're weird and strange. Well, everyone has their own weirdness. Everyone is unique, everyone's different. And usually sensors use that as a defense because they just feel, you know, they feel unconfident and they go, oh, you're weird, I can't predict you, I haven't met anyone like you before. Which is fair enough. Weirdness and uniqueness are both the same thing. So just because someone calls you weird, which I've had my entire life, even at the start of, you know, younger school days, I was always called weird. I mean, I'd rather be different and an individual rather than someone who thinks just the same as everyone else, really. So That's my opinion. We're very into ourselves as a type. We are, but not in the sense that we're obsessed with ourselves. It's more in a kind of sense that we're trying to find who we are as people. A lot of people say that the INFJ never looks at other types and is very self-absorbed into their type, which I agree on, but that's not due to vanity or due to obsession. It's more due to kind of finding who we are as people. Because ever since a young age, we never knew who we were as people, and we always stood out from the crowd and could never relate to anyone. And since now we found a way that we can understand who we are as people, it helps ground us from our dream worlds and makes us feel more human, really. So, at the end of it, we're not trying to be image orientated, we're just trying to find who we are, really. Soul searching, if you will. We're very antisocial. No, we are social. In fact, we're considered to be very extroverted as an introvert. INFJs constantly get mistyped as ENFJs. And my friends think I'm an extrovert when actually I'm an introvert, because of how adaptive we are to environments, situations and energies. I just get energized by introverted activities. And I'm only antisocial because I'm reserving energy or judgment because I don't feel the need to waste any more energy. I'm reserving it and keeping it for later on. Because we expel a lot of energy just because we think a lot, really. And just because we generally care a lot more than other types, though we might not seem it as an observational view. We're very boring, apparently. No, not really. If people knew what we did in the background, you know, we're not boring. I mean, for example, I've gone on hikes, I want to do skydiving, I want to do bungee jumping, I want to do jet skiing, I want to do all these things. I've done rugby, which is like American football. You know, it's just a common stereotype for introverts from an extroverted view, really. Because in general, senses just have to stereotype everything because they can't intuitively know what something is. So, apparently we're very lazy. That's only because we're trying to regenerate, and because we don't get energized by extroverted activities, really. You know. So, then again, the difference between extroverts and introverts. Apparently we also are sad and lonely. Not really. In fact, we enjoy being by ourselves in our own minds, in our worlds, because that's how we energize and think and process where we are in our lives. Because we're future thinkers, we need a lot of time to ourselves to actually kind of think about what we're doing in the present and how it projects and relates to our future ideas and needs, really. So yeah, we're by ourselves a lot because we're kind of soul searching or kind of understanding situations, past events and future events, and just seeing how they connect, really. I'm not going to go any further into that, but that's what it is. Apparently we're bored a lot. Not really. In fact, this pose is a thinking pose rather than I'm a bored pose. So, of course we get bored, yeah, but not as much as people think we do. Usually boredom is actually just us thinking. So, we're not science-based, apparently. Depends what science you're talking about. I mean, like chemistry and mathematics, I'm not. That's just me. I'm more kind of biology, animal, behavioural, facial, psychology, body language kind of thing. So, I think we're more kind of biology based rather than chemistry based. But then again, there's bound to be INFJs who thrive off chemistry subjects rather than physics or biology, for example. So, but that was just a common one that's popped up on the forums. We're emotionless. We can be. We range from being very stone cold and expressionless to very kind of expressive in our face. My friends say I have such a kind of strong, funny expression on my face. We don't talk a lot, but what we usually can't verbalize is expressed through our faces, which is very, typical of INFJ. So being emotionless, I wouldn't agree on. I mean, we're not commonly emotionless unless we're tired and regenerating. And we're weak people. Well, I'm not even going to say anything there, because in comparison to other types, we're very resolute, strong, confident, and direct. So, I mean, weakness is down to individual. So just because you think one person is, doesn't mean everyone is. It's the same with race, it's the same with sexual orientation, just stereotyping again, which I just think in general more people just need to be more open-minded, really. Hey guys, well, that part was false stereotypes. Now I'm going on to true stereotypes. I've got it up there on the computer just behind the camera. So this generally relates a lot to NF types, intuitives and feelers. So, but obviously everyone's individual, so a few things you won't relate to, or there's other things which aren't selected. But again, true stereotypes. We're abstract thinkers. We're cooperative, meaning we work with other people and other systems, and quite flexible. And we're idealists. The way that we speak in general is very metaphoric, very dreamlike, and very interpretive, in comparison to logical people who are very comparative and indicative, really. That's again because we're dreamers / idealists, kind of a combination of the two. Intellectual wise, we're very diplomatic. We're a mentor type, so that includes teachers, counsellors, advocates, champions, and as a reserved role, healers. Like, we heal psychically, or just generally through just talking to people. By being near people, we just kind of give off an aura, an energy which is comfortable, and people don't feel the need to hide their true selves when they're near us, which is nice. I think it's because they know that we can see right through them, whoever they are, if they're trying to hide it. We're interested in humanities, morality, and general personal lives, not in a kind of nosy way, but in kind of like, how are you doing, are you alright kind of thing, kind of comforting, in a comforting way. We're orientated mystically. We view the past as a kind of dreamlike, mystic kind of place, and we generally think in the future, and we just think about tomorrow. Whereas most types will think in the present, we think about the future. So we're constantly thinking about, oh, what could happen later today? I need to prepare for it, kind of thing, for example. Which is often why we're zoned out or very detached, which is fair enough. That's again for NF types. We think about pathways. We think that life is constructed through many pathways and directions, but they all end up at the same place. It's just choosing good paths over bad paths to get to your destination, for example. So life is all connected and constructed in paths and directions. Our self-image is empathetic, benevolent, and authentic. All of those things I agree with. It's just summed up on this graph here. Yeah, those three words, empathetic, benevolent, and authentic, sum up the INFJ completely, as well as NF types, so, which is nice to know. Value-wise, we're very enthusiastic as a person, though we don't show it kind of in an extroverted fashion. We trust people through intuition, We yearn for romance, whether you like it or not, we do. We seek true identity. We prize recognition from other people, and we aspire to be the kind of sage, kind of wise man, if you will, kind of role, which I do. And as a social role, we see looking for another mate as soul searching, so soulmate. Parent-wise, I haven't got to this stage yet, but apparently, as parents, we're a harmonizer in the family, so we bring balance to both sides and say, yes, your view's true, yes, your view's true, and kind of balance it out and kind of just stop there being any conflict, really. And as a leader, we are the catalyst for change, meaning that we are the spark to give other people ideas and inspirations, very much like the ENFP, which might kind of be why ENFPs like the INFJ so much, but who knows really. Anyway, I'll put up the list one more time, and yeah, those were true stereotypes. So yeah, those were common, stereotypes towards the INFJ. Both observational views, false views, and true views. So I hope it helped you guys understand who we are as a type, as a person. I hope you related a lot to this. My speech is going, it's been a long day. And in general, yeah, I just hope that you identify with those things and you feel more grounded and less detached as a person. By doing this, it helps to clarify who I am as a person and make me feel kind of more real, to be honest, which is why I do these things. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Another long video, I think about half an hour at this stage, probably more, maybe 40 minutes. But yeah,